9 o'clock. Call the meeting to order. Good turnout. He's always back there.
Yeah.
Just first time out of it, and he's already disrupting. Okay, so I guess we start with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. We have a quorum. We have, let's see, myself, Jim Latham, Harold's here, Lynn's here, Mike's here, and Lou's here. Rich Hennessy is not present. I guess we start off with any public comments. Anybody guess anything to say?
I'll say something. I just think we all should give a hand to Stephanie. And Friday's her last day.
You guys, I appreciate it.
You know it's cold in May.
I know,
Tell you this.
but it's about to get really hot here, so. No.
Well, Doug, thank you for stealing my thunder, but yes, Stephanie will be early missed here in the district and for Pelican and the Pond Subcommittee. So really want to thank Stephanie for all that she's taught me and for all that she's done for the district as well. So thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, guys.
Best of luck.
Not as of yet. We are searching, and we're gonna have to search very hard to find someone to fill in those shoes.
You'll be fine. You'll be good.
Should have to stay and train him.
I feel good.
Okay, I guess next up is the approval of the minutes. The January 7th. I took a look at them. They appear to be accurate to me. Anybody have any questions on the minutes from our last meeting? Yes, I need a motion.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
If I could,
Lynn,
yes,
Mike.
Second by Mike.
thank you. If you could just state your name when you make the first or
Okay.
second, please.
Now there's approval of minutes for the,
All in
Take a
favor?
vote.
all in favor, aye. Any opposed? B shows the impact meeting minute.
Yes,
We vote on them too.
yes, you do, because you had members attend that meeting as well.
Okay. Well, I looked at that. I was there. It looked accurate. Anybody have any questions on the P-PAC meeting minutes? If not, I'll make a motion to accept those meeting minutes.
Harold.
Harold, second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Financial reports.
We have 3 months worth of, we have December 2025. Just make this a little smaller for everyone to see.
Okay,
Any questions?
no, it's just, our normal, I guess I'll go down line by line on the last one.
This is January.
This is January?
Yes, so
Okay.
this is the latest one, which is February's. So
Okay, so we have our contract is top line. It's monthly service, so the stormwater system that's pending, we will have some of the downspouts done in the next quarter. Basin 6 flowway, nothing was done there. Shared expenses. That's gateways. Our portion of gateway. Fish gate, we haven't done anything on that. Vine control, that's extra littoral restoration. We haven't used much of that. We do have that pending, waiting for closer to the wet season. I expect a quote from Superior today. Pond aeration is under contract. That's a normal maintenance.
Jim,
Yep,
can you remind, this is Peggy, can you remind me again with the top 43 littorals were included in the contract?
Pond 43 littorals were not included in the contract. They didn't want to do that because we didn't want to plant until closer to the wet season. And if that was in the contract, they wouldn't be able to close out their work until 30 days after that. So it would be a minor little piece. So we separated that out of there. Green boxes, there's nothing on that at this point in time. Conservation of wetlands, that's our contract. Pond bank improvement, we're at the tail end of that. The work is substantially complete, just pending one final string of sod, which was not identified up front. There was money in the contract to cover that, so there's no changes on that. But once that is in, they've been out there watering the sod, so it's the job came out very well. I have to acknowledge Chelsea's recommendation. When we voted on it, I was a little apprehensive with it being $200,000 less than the other quotes. They did a fine job. I live in Carina where the work is. The people were all happy with the workers and how it was conducted behind their houses. So I have to give them kudos, well done, and thank Chelsea for her recommendation.
Hey, Jim.
This is the third time I've done it, and I have one more time that I'll be doing it at the Board of Supervisors. Eating my slice of humble pie yet again.
Jim, for the downspout,
Initiative,
is that
yes.
initiative is Ravenna in the?
There's
order?
the last two buildings in Ravenna are scheduled to be done. I believe it's in June.
Okay.
I was behind there, and there is quite a bit of pond bank erosion.
Yes.
It was the builder obviously undersized everything. So we're doing this to protect our pond banks. One is from the downspouts. The other one, the building didn't want us by the downspouts because of a concern for a buried propane tank. So we're putting in drain boxes a little away from the building to collect the water and route it away from the pond bank.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
The story at Ravenna about the golf balls, remember?
So, yeah, so I do see there is quite a bit of erosion, bank erosion in that area. We had sprayed back a lot of the littorals because it was hard for the golf course to collect the balls. So trying to be good there, and there was a lot of complaints from homeowners about the golf balls collecting there as the water level changes and all that. These are floating golf balls from the driving range. So we did treat the littorals all the way around behind the houses and the condos. So I haven't received any complaints. When I've walked, you see some, but nothing like there was before. And you could understand when we had thick littorals, it was
Right.
all spread through it and it was buried in the bank and it wasn't looking very good. So,
What's the trade-off though? You
It-
took the littorals away, so
Well-
there's more erosion.
the erosion was there. So, but what we'll probably end up doing next winter is we'll reevaluate some of the ponds, that being one of them. We'll have to adjust how we do the recommended bank restoration. So it will not be planned with littorals, but it has to be a firm enough surface to withstand the wave action, yet allow the golf course to be able to retrieve the golf ball. So I'll work with Tetra Tech to come up with a good solution. Obviously, you can't have, riprap because it would just look horrible with stone and white golf balls lodged in around them. It would prevent them from really going down to retrieve them. So, but we'll find a happy medium to.
Loomis collected over 1,000 of them, I believe, right? Really.
Yeah, well, it's always going to be a battle. The golf course isn't going to send somebody over there as frequently as we would like to see them. But they do come by and scoop them up periodically.
I guess something, Jim.
Yes,
Hi, Peggy Hall. I would like on behalf of the whole PPAC advisory committee to thank both Paul and Jim for the work that they did on Pond 43. It was exemplary. And you guys were on top of it. You kept the customers on both sides of the fence happy. And so we really appreciate the work you guys put in that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We haven't heard from we had one homeowner, unfortunately, they had the right of way. The only right of way on the pond, which is a very long pond.
Yeah.
They had asked and we explained that they do have the only one. So it's not that we can route the access to another point. The contractor did a very good job of working with them and coming up with the best solution that could be done. They did have some cocoa plum planted in the easement for privacy between their lanai and a neighbor's lanai. So we did have to remove some. We could have removed them all, but we only removed what the contractor needed to get through, which was nice. They moved them in towards the pond to try to keep them alive. Once they were done, they moved them right back where they were. So hopefully they survived this change, but time will tell. And they're aware and they're keeping an eye on it, and they are responsible. If the plants died, they will put new, but again, that's, the worst case scenario. These are nice 8-foot tall. We don't plant 8-foot tall cocoa plum. So,
Right, and as Jim stated, there's a 12-month warranty, so if those cocoa plums do die, the contractor is required to replace it. But unfortunately, it's gonna be a smaller plant, it's not gonna be the 8-foot tall that exists right now.
yeah. So
But
I see they're in the process of packing up, going back up north. So, but we'll keep an eye on it.
On the budget, just the audit, last year's audit is done. And so next month you'll see the reserves reduced to about 17,000, 16 and change from 97. The other thing, your pond bank improvement was 600,000, budgeted at 600,000,
Yes.
but there was an offset, a loan from capital reserves of 300, so that only 300 will get the assessments. I think you're going to work with Laura, because I think there's going to have to be some sort of budget amendment to reduce your 600 to 300.
To 300.
And eliminate that borrowing from capital before the end of the year. So just kind of make a note of that. Otherwise, we're going to get really screwed up.
We're gonna get really screwed up with that.
But I think they have to make that budget adjustment so that when it goes through the audit next year.
we are talking about the next year's budget as you're right, but this year's, yes.
This one is, since you came in under the 300, you don't have to borrow that 300. You have to make that budget adjustment to reflect those.
Because you'll borrow it next year.
Right,
So where did the reserves go?
You would overspent last year's budget by 80,000.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll follow up with Laura to get this year's adjusted down
We
to,
won't do that till closer to the end of the year. They make kind of, or at least quarterly, they make adjustments, I think, so. That's just a big one that has to.
yes. Yeah, because we will be looking to redo this again next year. So I want to make sure that everything works well. So there's no,
We don't want you borrowing 600,000.
yeah. Okay, then so we were just talking about pond bank improvements. We're on the tail end of that. That came in obviously under what we had anticipated. Hopefully next year we get a similar set of quotes for the next pond, which is the largest pond that we have. was it 21, the one down on Pelican Preserve Boulevard at the intersection of Cypress Grove. So then the last one is the our GIS system, and that's just under contract, a monthly fee. Any questions on the budget? I'm just getting used to overseeing this, so I'll get more familiarized as time goes on. No questions? Let's see, do we have to?
No action.
No action, okay. Next items are items for discussion. A, pond subcommittee selections and recommendation. Let's see, so, Doug and Mike's 2-year term officially ended. Mike was approved, so Mike is signed up. Doug, went over to the other side, to the dark side. Wait, so now he's our boss. So he had to resign from here. Jay put in an application to join the pond subcommittee. Let's see. And Doug Ball also applied for the pond subcommittee. Lynn Applegren, who's a member, will be resigning. He's here right now, fulfilling a quorum. Lynn is going to be a seasonal homeowner now. He's been full-time, but he's the pull of family up north is strong. So, and with the need to meet quorums, and throughout the course of the year, we try to have it where, you know, when we can, that we have the board members as full-time employees, full-time residents. So I thank Lynn for his time.
Are we getting paid for that?
I know employees slipped out. That was.
You get a bonus when you resign.
Still spending money.
Not in one place, I hope.
How many years?
You know,
How many years were you?
This is 7 years.
I thought it's been a long time.
you.
you know, but so he's been through a lot of it's in our formation, and as we've grown and developed, and, you know, as our role has expanded. So I thank you, Lynn.
You're welcome. It was fun.
So now we have 2 people
Vacancies.
and 2 vacancies. Do we need to, so I make a motion, do I need separate motions, or can I?
I think we put them all together, but we also need to include Lynn's resignation, accepting that, and then.
Okay, because
moving
then it
forward
won't
with
be 2.
Exactly.
So, okay, so I move to accept Lynn's resignation. I will need a second.
I'll second. Harold, second.
Harold, second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Now we have 2 openings on the pond subcommittee. So I'll make a motion to accept Jay and Doug. Their applications were submitted and everything looks good. Glad to have them aboard. I make a motion to accept them. Second.
Louis Lemire, second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
One more thing. With Doug being assigned the honor, to say, of being on PPAC, he will now become your official liaison. So that will be my liaison. Like, I'll still come and play with you.
Don't we get to pick?
So that will be your liaison now. So, yeah, he got issues talking to, he knows more than I do anyway.
Well, and that'll be invaluable because, you know, with Doug's history here, he knows where all the bodies are buried and
Yep.
who does what. And, you know, we all go to Doug for information on how things have been done. And, you know, as we work our way through the future. So Peggy, thank you very much for your
Yes.
support and direction.
subcommittee.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And Doug, I'm glad to have you aboard as our liaison and our source of information. Very much appreciated.
Is that a Jay or Doug Ball here today, or
Doug Ball.
Doug Ball? Nice to meet you.
Jay.
Okay.
And Jay.
Yes, Jay. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, I guess next one is going to be appoint a chair to the pond subcommittee. So with Doug leaving, Doug was the chair, I was the co-chair. Now we will need a new chair. And if the co-chair takes over the chair, then there will need to be a co-chair. You know, as the co-chair, you know, I have no objection to taking on the responsibility if nobody else wants to that role.
We don't object.
Good choice.
Well, I tried. So I guess somebody has to make a motion. I guess it wouldn't be seemly.
Motion, Jim becomes chair for on subject. I second Harold. I third it and I fourth it mine.
Okay, all in favor? Aye, any opposed? Okay, so I will take on the chair. Now we need a co-chair, a vice chair. I'll make a motion for Harold, if unless he changed his mind to be the co-chair.
You didn't tell me I was the fourth call you made, Jack.
You're the only one who answered my call. So I'll make a motion for Harold to be the co-chair, second, vice chair. Thank you.
So
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Harold will be the vice chair.
Condolences.
Very good. Condolences.
Now we can't talk anymore. Okay, I guess next up is item C, 2027 pond bank restoration, pond selection. Next up on our priority list is pond 21. As we mentioned before, it is our largest pond in the community. It is a very visible pond in the community as it's right along Pelican Preserve Boulevard. And it was identified a couple of years ago when I did a walk, and Tetra Tech validated it, and it's up next. So I based between 566 and 885. So originally we had about $125 a linear foot quote was what 47 and 40 ponds 47 and 48 were done. The last one was down to $77 thereabouts per linear foot. So I'm hoping that we get quotes of a similar nature, which would bring it around the 566. I've estimated it as $80 in that. So this is looking for approval to start the process for Tetra Tech to review the pond, draw up the bid documentation.
design and
The
bid documentation.
design and bid documentation. It's the first step before it goes out to bid. Again, we're looking to have this, we have to start it soon because this is a little bit of a process, and we need to have it all done so they can start again in our next dry season. So while we didn't even finish our last one, it is time to start the next one. We do keep having some lessons learned. My last lesson is the extra sod around the ring. In prior bids, the bid called for the sod to be placed to the control line, which is not the high water mark. In the last 47 and 48, the contractor knows this and just does the right thing, and put it down another layer of sod 18 inches below that. When I looked at the two ponds, they were next to each other. You could see that there is a difference, and I see the benefit of having this extra layer of sod. It protects this bank from, in our rainy season from erosion. So I think it's important. We're spending a lot of our community's money on this bank restoration. I want these things to last as long as possible, at least till I'm out of here. And so every year we've done this. There's been some other lessons that we've learned, and we are rolling this in as we move forward. So I will meet with Tetra Tech as we do it. We walk the golf course section of this pond, and there does not need any work. So no need to do work just for the sake of doing work. So we are picking where we need it. This will be the whole rest of the pond. We've done some pond restorations where certain areas were deemed not as bad as others, and it was not done. Well, in the intervening years, it doesn't look good. So the recommendation is to do a full bank restoration, except for the golf course side of it. So I guess I will ask for a motion to proceed with our work in Pond 21.
I make a motion that we let Tetra Tech draw the design and the required documentation.
And any second, are there any questions on this? I'm sorry.
What kind of mesh do they use now?
It's a pervious fabric, so the water can go through. The idea being we want littorals, we want the roots to be able to grow through this. So the bank restoration, they lay the surface over the existing core bank, then they put the fill in on top of it. So this, in some areas, it'll be closer to the surface. So again, our purpose of doing this, as opposed to an impervious surface, that we're trying to encourage the roots to help us hold the pond bank in place.
You mentioned 18 inches of additional sod. Is that underwater during the rain?
No.
It isn't.
No, this is just to the high water, basically the full pond line.
Okay.
If the full line was over the sod would just die.
Yeah, right.
I am not going to I don't want to put something just to make it look good today in the dry season, because next year it would be dead and it would just be
So in the
gone.
past, we've had sod short of the high water mark. Now we're going right to the high water mark.
Yeah, and I've seen it so pond 47 is the one along Cypress Grove between Julia and the far end of Carina. And you can see, so we've gone through a full season, and it goes up to that line, and it creates a good separation line. Lynn was on that pond. The littorals that they planted are doing phenomenal. It was
Hopefully the littorals from the next group that plants some will do it the way these guys did. They were, and I watched them do it, I mean, it was quite something, they had a team doing it, and what they did was they worked.
Yeah, no, we've done once a couple of years ago, we had tried some, and for whatever reason, it didn't take hold in that pond. Whether it's the new bank, the composition of it that encourages the littorals so much, I have a feeling that's part of it.
This part, yeah, probably.
Instead of the crappy sand that we have underneath it all. But so, okay, so
If I could just get some clarification, Jim. So this subcommittee has selected ponds 21 to be targeted for next fiscal year. So is the next steps to request a task authorization of Tetra Tech, get the estimate and bring that back to the subcommittee for approval? Is that the way I understand that correctly, or?
well, it's kind of going to be redundant because it's not going to be providing any new information. It's not going to be providing us with what the bid is.
No, but it's the cost of that task authorization. I just want to make sure I
Okay,
understand.
how much Tetra Tech is going to charge us for this work?
Yes, that is correct. That's what I want to make sure. So now that we have 21 selected, we're gonna ask Tetra Tech for the task authorization to do the design and the bid specifications. Do I bring that back to the next pond subcommittee for approval for that amount, that dollar amount that they're gonna be asking for?
Can we include it in this recommended this motion?
Let's say 25,000 or less, so something like that. Put a number in there,
Not to exceed.
not to exceed
No,
25,000 or
the
whatever.
process moving.
Right, because otherwise you gotta wait.
Yeah, that's 2 months
Right, so I
to
just-
do it.
yes, so I just need some direction on that. That's be included in the motion.
I
That's
will
okay.
modify my motion to include up to $25,000 for Tetra Tech to do this work.
In your experience, would
Be enough?
would they fall within that, or is this gonna be button up? You know, I'd hate to have it that it's
Right.
29.
I don't want to corner the subcommittee as well, but I just want to make sure that we follow the process and procedure, that it's comfortable with the dollar amount. It is the largest pond, so I'm not sure as far as cost estimate, so.
Make it 50?
Your point
Make it
being,
big.
though,
Make it 50, not to exceed.
Yeah.
Up to 50,000.
Right, yes, exactly. I mean, we're not gonna,
Yeah,
Not to exceed 50.
Okay,
it costs 27,000, you're still gonna see.
right, because it's,
right, so.
Is there a second?
I'll make a second on that.
We had a first,
Okay.
Mike and Lou,
And Lou. So-
right? Mike at first, Lou seconded, so Mike amended it to not to exceed $50,000.
Correct.
I second it.
Okay,
Okay,
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
thank you.
Okay, item D, budget discussion for next year.
Can everybody see that?
It's better.
There we go.
There we go.
I don't think you need to see the last, it's just the description and the notes.
The notes. So, the first item is just our Superior bid. You know, there is some extra put in, for an as needed, whether it was fish stocking. I did speak to Superior. He felt that this is not a good year for fish stocking based on the drought conditions. And we're now getting into the hot season. It's not optimal, and I have no desire to stock fish and not have a good chance of survival. There's no immediate need for it. Fishermen are still catching. In our pond reports, the technicians from Superior do note that they do see fish and fish fry throughout the various ponds. So, but you know, I am hopefully next season. They say the early spring is the best time to stock. So, the next time hopefully we have a good year for it, and we'll look and see which ponds may need to have some stocking done. Stormwater system. Okay, this is for our street drains. It's our time of, this is and every 4 year, we have them inspected to identify percents of blockages in our street drain system. And then with what they identify, usually the following year, we get it cleaned. I am meeting with them tomorrow to get a quote, you know, on how they perceive it being done.
That extreme divers you use?
That's Extreme Divers, yes.
Jim, is that just the street drains?
That's the street drains. It's not the pond interconnects. So
Catch
there's two, right? It's the catch. Basically, it's making sure the catch basins and the street drains aren't full where it would start flowing into the pipes.
Somehow, somehow I've been trying to get identified what our interconnect pipes are so that we can get them distinctly identified in GIS, because right now you can't distinguish interconnects pipes from others in the GIS. And nobody seems to have any documentation of the actual picture of the inlets and outlets on interconnect pipes. You've been trying to find those stuff, so.
I think in some ponds, the interconnects do double duty. So that's the hard part.
I think I have that, Ed. I'll talk to you off here. I think I've got that. I've got the size of the pump, pipe, the length of the pipe, the origin point and the input. I've got all that.
Okay. I've been chasing around off and on months trying to find some sort of documentation on that.
Yeah, Mars Riley did that for us.
Is that on a paper file or is that on a?
I know it's in an Excel spreadsheet. The original documents were all discs and they're at the district. All the discs, all the documents, the videos are at the district.
Jim,
Doug,
Question, regarding you, Paul. Last time we did the cleaning and that we were able to piggyback on the fact that you guys were doing it with them, and the price per, size of the pipe and stuff like that. And we didn't really go to bid because you guys had just went to bid. What would be the status of going forward with us with the inspection and the cleaning? I don't know what you're doing on the display side with those things.
Just a quick status with Atlantic Pipe Services. They have paused work and unfortunately, we may be reaching for some legal assistance regarding some dispute over the contract. So at this point, I would not rely on that pricing for the purposes of what Ed.
comparing
Yes, exactly.
what we,
They were not the low bidder when we went out last time.
We used them for the last basin, but not this card.
Right.
right, which is why we used them the last time because it was under.
You just have to go to bid
Right,
when we did.
right. So the current contract right now, it's on pause.
So we know who not to look at.
No comment.
Yep, I know. So that's with our plans. Again, I'll have to see. Now, while I can get a quote from Extreme Divers, would I be able to use them without going out to bid?
There's a dollar threshold that we cannot exceed. Otherwise it would have to require to go out to bid.
So how much is that?
I would have to get back
I think
to,
that was-
yeah, let me get back to something.
I think Chelsea has 30, and the other one is the 199 or whatever it is.
The IBT.
Invitation to call
Right.
is about 200, a little less than 200. But you still have to get 3 quotes.
Right.
It's sort of a informal,
Right.
formal bid.
Yes.
Are you gonna send out a copy of this budget?
This is already published. It's out there right now, but yes, we can provide you a copy.
Yeah, if you go on the Gateway website, on the left side, it shows the meetings. Once it's passed down below, if you go on the ponds, it'll show all the meetings and all the minutes, and you just have to go on to the agenda, and then there's the blue, you just click and.
Just remember, you're dealing with a 90-year-old.
Do you have any grandkids?
Get my hockey tickets on my cell
So do you have any other recommendations of who we could get bids from? Do that.
There's a handful that I can provide you a list with. And Extreme Divers would be one of them as well, so.
Yeah. I will reach out because I'll have to. I'll probably abuse our history with Extreme Divers to. I don't have a contract or something that shows clearly the scope of work involved, so it's hard to go to somebody else without. Here's what I'm looking for you to inspect.
Right.
We don't have that. So it becomes awkward. Yes, we could turn around and pay Tetra Tech,
This process.
you know, to draw all this up and get that, and it may come that has to be done, but, you know, I don't like spending our money, you know, and then you find that now in total, you're spending more than if you just went with that, but sometimes that is not an option that we have.
I got a question, Jim. The budget. Does Gateway give us the budget prior, like, when did they vote on, like, 1.2 million?
Process starts here.
Yeah.
It starts here.
So these are our numbers that we're gonna give to the supervisor.
P-PAC.
To PPAC, and then
Okay.
it goes for final adoption by the board of supervisors.
Right. So we have to then, you know, they'll ask their questions. Well, what if this, what if that? And then they send it on to.
Now, you're talking about Paul, is that how you get to that number, the 2.3 million, 1.3 million?
Yeah, well, and Laura, you know,
Laura's
she's
very
So
involved with the budget.
you're working on that right
Yes.
now. Okay.
Yes.
you know, because like if you look at the, you know, there is a bump because I had to put the whole estimated 50 as our estimate for the pond bank improvement.
Okay.
So even if it's, say it's a 2-year thing, I can't put half of it
Right.
this year and half of it next year. It has to be all of it and then none of it. So, you know, it just, you know, it gets people's attention.
Harold, the money that we take from loan, I'll say loan from reserve,
Uh-huh.
is not assessed to the Pelican Reserve homeowners. Because it's already been assessed
Right.
and it went into reserves. So this number is not the number that will be assessed. It'll be this number minus the money we borrowed from reserves is actually what is assessed to the homeowners.
Because that is important. We do want to turn around and try to have our overall budget as flat as we can, so we're not driving an increase.
So, but to answer your question, so this has already been provided to Laura. Laura's plugging the numbers. Then it'll go to PPAC for their review and approval,
Okay.
and then finally to the board of supervisors. We are trying to get early on this, you know, start the
Right.
process earlier so that everybody has an opportunity to review their budgets
Yeah.
for next fiscal year.
And this is high watermark. It will be reduced.
Yeah, usually that's the process.
Right.
They cut it here and there.
Fiscal year starts when?
October first.
October 1st.
October
Okay.
1st through September 30th. That's our fiscal year.
Okay, so that was stormwater system. Basin 6 flowway, this is just the annual maintenance on the flowway. Fish gate and aerator maintenance were under contract. We didn't have this shows the fish grates were last cleaned in 2024. So it does show coming up. So this will have to fall in with the whatever the bid is for scoping, either inspecting it to see if it's needed and then get that scheduled. Vine control and removal. This is our town center, the boardwalk going through. We just did it last year. One of the things we heard about damn emergency alert system. Another senior's missing. So, we had I don't recall the name of the plants, but we had them cut. It starts growing in right up to where the boardwalk is. Dahlia. So we had it cut and left. It just looks god awful. It looks like it was just, you know, hacked down and abandoned. They did what we paid them to do though. So another lesson learned: next time when it grows back to that point where it is now up at the boardwalk, we will have it cut back and removed.
The reason it's taking that spot, for anybody that doesn't know it, is you can't see the birds. This stuff grows so tall. When we first came here as a community,
Yeah.
it's pretty level, and every night the birds would go there and you wanted to see them.
When you let the thalia just grow unimpeded, you can't see any birds.
Yeah.
So that's why we do that.
Or any of the wildlife, the gators and all that, you know, you don't see the water.
It'll overrun.
You know, and again, it has to be trimmed back because it's hanging over the walking boardwalk. So, but that's not, you know, we don't expect to need to do that this year. Littoral planting, I will be getting a quote from Superior for a number of ponds that were identified as benefiting from additional plantings, as well as supplementing the planting along the pond that we just redid the bank on. Pond aeration is their contract, and then the estimate for whatever parts we will need to maintain that through the next year. The drain boxes. This is in anticipation of a potential problem that comes up. We have to plan on something going wrong that we will need to do some maintenance on it. Nothing planned at this point. Conservation of wetlands. This is under contract. And then we also do a cleaning usually or probably around the November timeframe to trim back all the overgrowing thing along the paved path through the conservation area here to maintain safety. And in case there's any asphalt patchwork that needs to be done. Pond bank improvements, we've already spoken about and we're starting to proceed on pond 21. Shared flowway maintenance is what we share with Gateway on their maintenance of that. The GIS web portal, that's under contract. Very useful if you aren't familiar with it. It has a lot of good information if you are interested in that kind of stuff. And then we have a capital projects reserve to start saving some money for the stormwater cleaning. That's what Laura suggested we do. Like I said, if I know I'm going to have it next year, I'd rather budget it half of it this year, and then I only have to budget half of it for next year. She agreed that was a prudent and how it would normally be handled. Any questions, comments, or concerns on the 2027 budget proposal?
Jim, with the littoral plantings.
Yeah.
You said you're getting an estimate from Superior.
Yes.
Does Extreme Divers, do they do that specifically?
They do not. They had the grower of this, the provider of the plants do it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
just, they don't put their sod down. They have the sod provider,
Okay.
So they end up having people who know it best. It's not a skill set that they're.
So how about that subcontractor? Is that someone you could look for to get a quote from, or?
Now, the price is in our contract with them, and it was the same price that other
Okay.
people who bid on. It's a per plant, I'd say $1 per plant. And it seems to be whether it was Solitude, when we had Solitude,
Right.
they had the same price. So it seems to be a standard, a generic price. That even if you found or identified the grower, the provider of the plants,
right,
they're not going to undercut because all these people are buying it from them.
Right.
So they're not going to cut their own throat. So, but I will be verifying that, their price is matches what they have in the contract that we signed with them this last year.
Plus, they're the ones that are gonna be maintaining the littorals once they plant it, so
Right.
usually it works better without.
And that was really the whole gist of going to them, because I don't want the next guy coming out and spraying,
Exactly.
when he'll know, maybe he has to pull it instead of spraying it because of the proximity to new plants. Any other questions with the 2027 budget? Is this something that we need
I don't think we need a motion, it's just a consensus that we can move forward.
Okay. General consensus to move forward?
Yeah.
Item E, rear yard downspout drains in Ravenna. Does this need a vote?
Yes, it involves the budgets.
Okay. Well, as we mentioned before, this is the last two buildings on Ravenna. Doug also got another quote from Ameriscape, which was higher than the combined Copeland. Now, with this downspout, this is the last there. This is not to say that we will not find other areas that weren't included in the original project. There could be some areas as we do pond inspections, if we find neighborhoods that the builder provided the downspout drainage, if they're inadequate and if it's impacting the pond bank, it could be that we would be coming back looking to supplement other areas to bring them up to the current code, I'll call it. But nothing at this point. Once this is done, this is everything that we have identified. Is that correct, Doug?
Yes, and the only thing about Ravenna is I kept the core membership, but about, I think 3 years ago, we voted on Ravenna wanted us to do this and we told them we'd do it. Dependent upon budget. And this was the first time we had budget to be able to do it. So we voted on it as a subcommittee to do this project a few years ago, once money was available.
The only reason they weren't done originally is they didn't have downspouts,
Right. They didn't,
Right.
so they added it.
Now, when they do this, he'll be repairing some of the bank damage where the washouts.
When they put the downspouts in,
Right.
they repaired the bank around where the catch basin is. So both buildings will have that done. And it's usually done with a coconut mesh underneath to repair the bank.
Right. So where there's the big washouts, that will be repaired, but not the bank
Right.
drop off itself. So that would still need to be addressed at some future time. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to proceed with Copeland's bid to complete the drain work. Any second? Any questions? Do I have a second? All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, so decreed. Next one is F, Pelican Preserve staff gauges.
Yeah, so if you recall back, I believe it was last September, we brought forward an agenda item to seek support for the staff gauges, the 5 that are in Pelican Preserve. Total, we were looking for 17 staff gauges to be installed throughout the district. At that meeting, at the ponds meeting, we did get support and approval to proceed. So with the work of Stephanie, majority of Stephanie's work, we put the bid together, we put it out, we got a responsive party to High Site and it was the only bidder, only submittal. And so we brought back the item to the Board of Supervisors for approval. We gained approval for the 12 out of the 17 with the 5 remaining in Pelican. So this item today is to seek approval to proceed with the 5 staff gauges located in Pelican Preserve.
And these are rain gauges?
These are staff gauges to monitor the water levels of the ponds.
Okay.
So I had asked for clarification. How important is this mandated? What are the benefits? What are that? And Paul did provide some information. I did send that out just so people have this understanding of what the request does, what it provides to the Gateway staff.
So this is just a diagram. This is what a sap gauge does, or what it is. It just basically monitors the height of the water level of the ponds.
Electronic.
Yes. No, this is very simple technology. It is, no, it's like a ruler, inside the pond itself, so where you could just kind of see where the water levels are at any given time.
Typically, they're next to your data logger, which is the electronic equipment, and there's already some of those throughout Pelican and Gateway. So you put them next to it so you can calibrate the data logger and provide accurate information, because they always you have to put them next to each other.
Does your staff do that?
Yeah.
Calibrating?
So how often do you actually physically go out to the pond to look at the levels? Do you do that
During rainy season, weekly, but
weekly,
during
dry season?
dry season and maintenance and everything, that's quarterly. Yeah.
Because I know I've just out of curiosity, after a heavy rain, I emailed her, I said, so can I find out how much the pond has gone, how many
Yeah,
inches,
right,
what
right.
the impact of this heavy rain is? So while that doesn't serve any real purpose other than curiosity and, correlating to a 2-day downpour and what its impact is on our ponds. Because sometimes people, in our walking around, they know what we're involved in, they'll ask questions. And, I like it when people ask questions. It shows involvement and, they're interested in, their surroundings, and I like to be able to provide them accurate responses.
What ponds are these on?
Aviano Drive, so 14, it's located right here. 15 at the town center. 16 is behind the Winn-Dixie and Colonial. Pond 1, and then Pond 38.
Yeah.
Pond 1, so Pond 1,
Then Prado Drive.
our water flows out to Pond 1. So, and
Basin 6 does.
Basin 6, so, and those commercial properties also put money into our buckets. So we want to make sure that Pond 1 functions properly, so it continues to flow off of our property. And there's nobody there's nobody else. Winn-Dixie ain't no more. But the property owner, they're, so it was after review with the powers that be, it was decided that we were probably the best ones. We have the most involvement at this point in time to make sure that this functions.
This is Bob. The reason this came back to the group is that the board of supervisors, an opinion was expressed. This really offers us nothing. And we disagree with staff in their interpretation. If you want to know if the pond's low, look at it. If you want to know if it's high, look at it. It's as simple as that. When it gets too high, the weirs take care of it. I'll just say there's no real value to this.
I was wondering about that.
So it's a lot of money. $12,000.
This is $17,161 for the 5 in Pelican.
We've done without it 25 years. So I'll shut up about it. It's your decision, but it's just, consider what you're doing.
That money's coming out of our budget, this year's
Yeah.
budget?
Mike, it's proposed.
26.
Haven't spent anything yet.
Yeah.
Yes, but it
Yeah.
would come out of the pond subcommittee budget.
Okay.
Yeah, so Jane, I guess my question is, what type of follow-up is there with this? So you put these posts in basically, and then the data loggers, it communicates with data loggers, so that information is there.
Doesn't, no.
Communication.
They visually look at that and then calibrate the data loggers.
But no
That-
action is
so
taken, regardless of what you see.
Well, that's what I meant.
There's no action. taken. The weir controls the up level. God controls the low level.
Yeah, Mother Nature.
You can't
for the
influence it
level
one way or the
of
other.
Mother Nature.
And how does this help you in Gateway? I mean, really, what's the justification?
You want to?
Stephanie.
Yeah, you're wrong.
You're not leaving today.
Exactly.
So we do have staff gauges already set up throughout Gateway, but they have long since passed their time limit. They're warped, and that's why we're going through this replacement process, and that's why a lot of them got approved on the Gateway side. We also don't know technically how much water we are taking on. So on the Gateway side, we have the airport and we have Timber Creek and all these communities that feed into Gateway. And unless someone has a staff gauge monitoring that, so that's a part of the follow-up. If you put these gauges up, the district would have staff go out, record these numbers, then you'd have consistent data throughout the months and the years. And if consistently your water levels are getting higher, then we have something to present later on. Say, look, we are taking on more water than you guys anticipated. So that would be the follow-up on the Gateway side of we'd continuously go out and monitor and collect the data.
Is there a schedule for that stuff, Nick?
So when these are implemented, there would be a schedule in place for someone who's in my position. So I would go out and check on these things. Right now, we do it weekly during the wet season, and then we do quarterly maintenance, and we do pond inspections monthly. So it's checked then as well.
If anything, it'd be a check to see if there's any other, because we're supposed to be a closed system, theoretically, but we know that adjacent or nearby properties are impacting our stormwater system. This would be one of the extra tools or additional tools to be able to measure that impact to the system or to specific ponds within not only Pelican, but also in Gateway. So I do feel that there's a benefit, and I probably should have back up a little bit. This project started a couple of years ago, and I think that's where it originated. And then when I started, it was one of the things that was tasked to see it to completion. And with Stephanie's help, we were able to do that. So, but at the end of the day, I do feel there's a benefit. It's a very simple technology because it's stationary. You could just look at the number and know what the height of the water is at any given time.
So we have 12 of them now. Is there any data impact from past reviews?
Well, there's 9 existing in Gateway, and we're adding 3 more, I believe. So the 9, they're obsolete, not really reliable. That's why we're trying to replace them. But we're trying to initiate and start that program now with all of these new staff gauges.
Now,
So it's a starting point.
do these all feed into the flowway running through Pelican? Or are there multiple?
Their 9 does.
So,
Yeah.
so part of, not all of Gateway, not all of your pond systems flow to our flowway.
Yes, all do.
We have,
All of them.
yes, they either go out through Pond 1 or through our flowway.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, all the gateway though goes
Yes,
through
yes.
Buffalo.
Right,
So
okay.
these additional ones in Pelican, I think all feed into
Pond 1.
Pond 1
Now, would the
or most of them.
development on that colonial commercial property affect or potentially affect water flow into our system?
It could.
This would give us that proof, that evidence.
Only to Pond 1,
Right,
only to Pond 1.
right. And we've never had any flooding in that part of
Oh, we have.
Pelican. Well, okay, well, that's true, yes. Many
My
years
point is,
ago.
if you get data and you can't act on it,
Right. Yeah, what is it? Provide you.
why do you need it? Using some of that rationale, would you put one in pond 8? I think it's 8, which is a C5 pond, because it overflows into. That comes into us. That comes into us.
That comes in.
Comes right across to. I mean, they maintain that pond, but it flows into the Pelican system. So you're using the rationale of trying to know what flows into our system.
Right.
Wouldn't that pond be one that you would monitor?
The ponds selected were selected through before me and Paul's time, and then Tetra Tech reviewed it, so they're the ones who said these would be the hot spots to do. I don't know the numbers of your ponds very well
What's the C5, the pond that's in C5?
on the other side.
Yeah,
Tree line, yeah.
yeah.
But it's self-leveled. It To the obvious. but it's maintained by C5.
So it's not your property.
No.
No,
We would-
no.
Well,
It's
it's all under us.
We maintain,
We maintain it.
just like we do maintain Pond One. That's not in Pelican at all.
Yes, it's in the Pelican development.
That's different.
But not-
It's not in Pelican, but we maintain it. Pond Eight is the same situation. It's in the Pelican footprint of water management, but not geography. So we maintain Pond Eight since it's been built. And we maintain Pond One. Yeah, we put, aeration in Pond One.
So put a staff gauge on Pond One.
But, yeah, okay. You can't do anything with the information. You put it there, okay, great.
Well, you're
You
gonna
can
do,
do nothing with it.
We're being a team player.
Well, the team player wants to save money.
So there is a cost breakdown for each gauge, so if you wanted to go ahead and approve some or none, it's up to you. When you originally approved to go forward with the staff gauges, we didn't know the cost that was gonna be associated with it.
Correct.
So that's why it's being brought back to you. But yeah, it's up to you and your budgeting and what you wanna do with it.
Yeah, and step gauges 13 to 17 are the ones in question. Those are the ones that are being sought for approval today.
So this money be this fiscal year,
This
and it's
fiscal
gonna
year.
come out of reserves? Where's this money coming from?
It was
That has been budgeted.
It's not in our budget today.
Yeah, right.
Neither is the 50 we just did. For the,
test.
Right,
That's
that was up
obligation.
to- But that was something that was planned. We're playing the pond improvement, so this is something new.
You would have to, the budget, figure out how.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, the other thing that was said is that it's all impacted zone 6 or basin 6. It doesn't. Prado and Pelican Reserve Palazzo have nothing to do with basin 6.
Right.
So 3 of them are basin 6.
So do we have the money or are we gonna borrow from next year to pay for this?
We just budgeted.
You know,
That's
what-
Yeah, but it's this fiscal year, so we've already budgeted for this fiscal year.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You'd either put a deficit in
Offset
the
something
budget
else.
or
Yeah,
it would have
okay.
to be taken from other
Right.
savings,
Right.
from other accounts, but
Okay,
yes.
so-
Yes.
So the next step would be where we're gonna find the money then, once we say, oh, let's do this.
On the Gateway side, the Board of Supervisors use reserves to pay for the 12. Number 1 to
All
12.
right, so we would be in the same situation.
I would
Yeah.
venture to say yes.
Okay, well, we've heard, Gateway feels that there's a need for this. We've heard that, another side that, while you can have the information, but it's not going to drive you to make a change. It's almost just saying, okay, well, I see a pattern. We have to decide, do we want to proceed with the staff recommendation? Or do we choose to vote no?
Well, we could compromise with Peggy's suggestion. We take the one that's where there's value, apparently, as opposed to the other 4.
Well, okay, from the people involved, is there I know you said that this was put together, this initiative was started a few years ago. Tetra Tech validated that these locations were all useful, or did they just provide the engineering that, of how to do it, right? Because I know from firsthand experience, they're not always telling you what you should or should not doing. They're contracted to provide you with the documents to do what you asked them to do. Do you feel that these 5 are all bring value commensurate with the money that you're that we're looking to spend?
I'll answer that really with a short explanation. I've always been told you can't manage something unless you can measure it. And when you're dealing with the stormwater system, that's your number one data proof is your measurement. You're quantifying your results or what you're seeing or what you're experiencing. So from my perspective, as from staff, I support this because it's a way to quantify and be able to manage our system in a way that will provide any sort of proof or any sort of justification with either the water management district or the neighboring property owner that's impacting our systems. And I think that's the real value in trying to move all 5 of them forward. That's my opinion. Subcommittee, could go in any
When the
direction.
pond is low, what do you manage?
So
When the pond is low, what do you manage?
when the ponds are low, there's no issue. But when there's a heavy rain event, storm events, or that's when you start seeing the major impacts or.
And that's when we react to the weirs now, without regard to a staff gauge. Correct? Right now, we react with the weirs. That's why we built the adjustable weir.
Right, that is correct.
That's the only thing you can do. That is the only thing you can do.
Another question. You said that the 9 are no longer, you have 9 of them now that are not working.
They're obsolete, they're warped, they're never really maintained properly. So this will give us a fresh start to manage that
So
program.
how long would these last if we get them now?
I think initially we're looking at estimated at 10 years minimum.
10 years.
Yes, but if we maintain them, we could extend that. I think it was just 10 years minimum.
Schedule for maintaining.
Right.
And monitoring and all that.
Correct, yeah.
Yes.
Of the 9 that you have in Gateway, have you been tracking the data to what have you learned from those 9?
We are. A lot of the times they're used heavily during like storm events. So now that we have the adjustable weirs, we're getting sent out there every time to check, okay, where are the water levels? And when we open the weirs, we know how much the water will drop because of our staff gauges. We can see how much it makes a difference. These are also the same gauges that the water management uses. So it's the same installer as well. So they heavily rely on it. And I support what Paul said as well. It's going to give you that data that can be relied on and shared to the regulatory agencies if you needed to. So.
Now, would this say there's some, I'll go back to the commercial development. Would this show if there is an unexpected increase in storm water after heavy rain events coming in? Again, with the eye of trying to make sure that that we're able to prevent any flooding in towards any of the homes or properties. I guess if you saw a pattern, then it would have to direct you to the cause of it or where it's coming from, and then that would have to be adjusted in some way. But that would be a heck of because you can't just adjust into one pond, because then it goes from that pond to the next pond to the next pond to the next pond before it leaves the property.
Do we know that these have been strategically selected? Are they going to provide the best information from these 5 locations?
That's a good question. This is based upon what staff put together 2 years ago. So this was before, Sam myself. So I can't answer that definitively at this point. But I do know that they would add value because we'd be able to measure. But I cannot answer your question.
Some of these are by the data logger.
They all will be, right? You said?
Not all of them.
That you can react to.
That's
I know the one by the town center has a data logger.
Is there a data logger at 38?
That's
where the weir is.
Not all.
We're at
16, 14, 15. Those all do. 17 as well. Oh, 17 is on 38. No, that one is not. Yeah.
And 13 out of throttle.
And the other thing is, why does one of them cost $5,900?
Because that one's pole mounted instead of mounted on a structure.
It requires more hardware. we have to mount it onto, something. So that's the additional cost.
Think about it on it, but it
Yeah. Yeah.
just did that.
But this project is starting soon with Gateway, so if you guys want to move forward with it, the mobilization fee would be less because they're already doing it on the Gateway side. So we don't recommend waiting till next year or something because there might be an additional cost to that. So.
Okay. We've talked about it. We have, you've had some access to some background information and based on our discussions, we have to come up with an answer. So I will make a motion to proceed with staff's recommendation and mount those open for discussion. Or what is the technical next step?
We need a second for discussion.
Is there a second?
I'll second Harold.
Okay. Concerns, questions, concerns, comments? Speak now or?
What was the total cost for those?
17 and change.
17 of the I saw, okay.
$17,161.
And that would impact this year's budget,
Correct.
That is correct.
and there's nothing in the budget for this.
No, there was no line.
Right, there was no designated.
Did show 90,000 reserved though.
Well, we don't have that.
Yeah.
No.
That's yeah, it burst a bubble on that.
Apparently it was the rest of it. That was John's budget last year.
Thanks for telling us.
So I guess where would the money come? We'd have to cut somewhere else in the menu this year, right?
Okay. So we have a first and a second, and this for discussion.
Okay.
I guess the question I have is what could we cut if we decided to go through with this?
What would be the
Jim's
process
salary?
to
We can cut Jim's salary.
my bonus? My signing bonus?
Yes, and just to give some additional background, so when the 12 was approved, there was a shared cost already factored into Pelican, so so when the district approved this item, I mean, the total of project cost was 59,000. The 23,500 and the shared cost between Pelican and Gateway was 19,173. So you are paying portion of the 12 already. That was
No, that's not true, Paul.
so the total shared cost.
That is not true. We're not paying for anything in Gateway.
On the flowway. Those,
Only. the
Yes,
flow.
on
yeah,
the flow.
which is that shared cost.
Yeah, these are the yellow ones that are shared costs. But we have them in different colors. So the yellow is shared cost between Gateway and Pelican. The green is totally just dedicated for Gateway. Then the 5.
The only thing that we're paying, Carol, only thing that we pay on the flowway is from Prado to I-75. We don't pay a nickel for anything within the Gateway community. That's what we agreed to as the Board of Supervisors. So we're not paying, you can put 30 of them. We don't pay for that. So that's wrong data.
That's what Laura and Chelsea
Well, there's,
put on there.
Yes,
Then they're wrong.
this is what was presented to the Board of Supervisors.
and I remember it well.
Approved, yes, so.
And we did not approve, we, the board, did not approve that Pelican would pay for anything in the Gateway Flowway. Go back and listen to the recordings.
Okay, so, but. Okay, well, that may be a separate item, Bob, that we may have to bring back to the Board of Supervisors. Because my understanding is that, again, the 23,500, which was Gateway's cost, and the 19,173, which is shared between Pelican and Gateway, was approved.
Whoever did that is wrong.
And that,
Okay.
meeting, and this was included as part of the attachment to that agenda item.
So you're saying that if that were the case, and that would be included in that budget line item, she's share
Well, that would mean it'd be 19 plus 12 or plus.
No, no, it would still be 17 plus, but I.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 17 plus the shared portion
Right.
for the yellow.
And that's-
Number 1 through 7.
So the shared cost, is that our cost or is that half and half, or how does that work?
There's a formula.
There's a formula. There's a formula.
Until this year, we Pelican have never paid a nickel
Right,
for the flowway.
exactly, understood that.
And that changed as a result of the
Right.
the reassessment, whatever they call it. Methodology. How could I forget?
Can we get a vote, Tim, because we have first a second?
Okay, so we have a first and a second. Can we have a vote on, this is to proceed with Gateway's staff's recommendation? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I can't vote.
I'm gonna vote change the nay.
Usually opposed to things.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that you embarrassed that.
Okay, the shared cost is obviously a secondary thing that's not,
Yeah,
we're not,
Yes, that's
they'll have interesting conversations after the meeting. Okay, that was staff gauges. Item G, finalization of consolidated ponds standards for Gateway Services CDD and Pelican Preserve. A good looking document. I know it's not engraved in stone. It can be, you know, like everything. I didn't find anything personally, you know, objectionable.
I reviewed this with Stephanie and I will move that we accept this document.
I'll second that. Any discussion? Yes.
Yeah, I haven't looked at this. But there's a lot of issues around the fishing regulations.
Ah,
We brought,
yes.
we brought that up when you guys reviewed it. I don't know if all that's been digested and all the discrepancies between all the documents addressed.
I don't think it has been.
Okay, so I guess talking about fishing in Pelican Preserve, and it's hard to have a common document with Gateway and ourselves. You're not aware, we have a couple of people who take issue with some people fishing outside of the designated fishing areas. Usually it's because it's behind their house or it's visible from where they're on their lanai and they see, you know, grandkids or whoever fishing. I do not believe it's any of our residents because we all know, you know, what we're expected and where you can get away with fishing outside of the designated fishing areas. There's no good way. We don't have a code enforcement person.
No, but the problem is different documents that are out there say different things.
So this would be the consolidated policy document, and it does address fishing. I'm not exactly sure what your comments were, but in this you can pull it up. In this document, we're addressing, you cannot fish behind residential properties unless it's your property.
Right.
And you can only go in, you can't use like
There we
GSDD legal easements. That's our easements. You can't use those for fishing. You can go on common area. So Gateway has the pool. You can fish from there. You guys have fishing zones. You can fish from there. But if you want to read through it, do you have questions or concerns?
Flowway fishing.
Yeah, it's the issue that the ponds are called out here, but flowway is not. And flowway is not considered a pond.
So the wording, technically it does count as, we define GSDD ponds as the ponds, the flowways, the lakes. It's the same verbiage, and that's addressed in the beginning in like the glossary of this document.
Can you pull that up, please, Paul, so we can.
No, absolutely.
That be under definitions?
I believe so, or it's the first paragraph.
There's ponds.
Read flowways in there.
Right, also referred to as
flowway.
Let's go to
Go to, wait, let's scroll on, go to the on definition,
Ponds definitions, okay.
let us read it.
Yeah, right here.
That's been awesome. And we teaching.
See, it doesn't say flowway.
Okay.
So we can incorporate that as the verbiage to, in this document. So then in the fishing section, it would cut, so you can fish from the flowway in the open areas, that's fine, but behind homes, that's a no.
It's just across from home, the person they gets upset about. It's not behind their home, it's on the other side of the flow.
Right, but we don't know if it's a family member of somebody who lives there. In which case they would have a legitimate right to fish there.
I think if you add flowway to this pond definition, then that,
So the
That
flow is
covers that.
not-
Exception.
right. So,
Technically wasn't in.
Yeah, the governing,
the problem is in Gateway, the flowway flows through ponds. In Pelican, the flowway is pretty much.
Is a separate entity, right?
One or two that they're getting, but.
Yeah.
It's a separate thing.
the governing docks of Pelican Reserve forbid fishing. But we cut out an exception. The ponds group advocated that we could have designated areas and that was accepted. So that is the exception within Pelican. And at that time, it did not include the flowway because we didn't have control over that. Gateway.
Control the fishing section.
Sorry.
Not good. But other than that verbiage,
Looks fine.
that looks fine to you? That covers what you want? Okay. So we can make that amendment and then if you move to accept this, you can say accept this with the change that.
With the addition of flowway to the ponds in the,
And this is going to PPAC for the next step, so we can incorporate that on one change. So we can finalize this.
Sorry to be so bad about this, but we got some there.
It's an issue.
No, that's fine. I'd rather you address it and
Yeah,
it
then
gets approved.
change
and
it in
you don't have
2
to-
months.
So when you change the fishing policy, also GFCDD ponds and flowway are open.
Right, we'll add that. That's not an issue.
Clears it up.
And then we need to get rid of a lot of the other ancillary documents that read different.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so basically it's if somebody has an objection, GSCD does not monitor fishing activity, so individual property owners are responsible for reporting violation to law enforcement if necessary. So there is nobody in Pelican who's being the fishing police that the homeowner could call.
Keep trying.
Well, yeah.
Well, practically, what do you do? I see somebody fishing across the pond 38, and they're actually in a conservation area where they're not even supposed to be to begin with, but they're over there fishing. Who do I call? Sheriff. We're right, because we don't know. We know that these people up at the gate aren't gonna do anything.
Right. We do send out periodic updates to the community explaining the rules for fishing. Again, we have turnover, so there's always new people, new company. We do expect the homeowners, as the emails, the documents say, that they're responsible for any guests and they should be making sure that any guests are aware of the rules for fishing. So other than that level of reminding people, there's, we can't make somebody do something if they're just going to be obstinate and I'm doing what I want to do anyway.
Like bicycle stopping and stop sign.
Well, yeah, it's a bad example this week.
The other element in this document that hasn't been talked about because it's not a big thing for us is littorals. And because we have advocated strongly for littorals because it helps the ponds and erosion and all other things. So this is going to be one of the bones of contention within Gateway because there's some communities that don't want littorals. It's still the right thing to do. Well, this formalizes that it should be there.
But I think when, in their development order, they weren't mandated to
Doesn't
have
matter.
it.
This supersedes
Okay.
it. This supersedes everything. And you're right. And that's what they hung themselves on before, was different DOs.
Yeah.
This will supersede all of this. So Ed said, you gotta get everything to line up now.
But we do hear, well, why does Gateway not have it and we have it? And we had to,
We've always had a lot of things they didn't have.
you know,
We've had aeration, we've had downspouts,
but
we got fish stocking, we got a lot of things. And we don't go with, some of the expensive things that they do. Because you know yourself, we do our pond bags cheaply. They do $210 a foot,
yep.
and that staff recommends it too. So be careful because staff recommended that you're gonna do it.
And I don't find it appealing, the end result. But be that as it may, I think the document overall is a very good document.
So make
You
a
know,
motion to support it.
So I make a motion to support it.
Well, yeah,
That's changed.
Mike was first,
Okay.
second.
I'll second it.
We're gonna add flowway to the definition. So we're just looking for the vote.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed?
Good job on that stuff.
Yes.
Thank you, Stephanie.
It's nice that it's not a
It's my turn
120, it's not a 120-page document.
Now your staff gauges.
She runs away.
Yeah. Okay, item H, entrance fountain maintenance contract discussion. Okay.
Dougie.
Where do we stand with? So pool trooper is our current, they used to do the other pools and the fountains here. They're no longer doing it. They've been less than responsive. They did try to increase their rates, but then we reminded them, Gateway reminded them that they're under contract. So we are looking at other providers.
When's their contract expire?
It's a month to month. We could just give them, I think, 30 days notice. You know, so we don't have to do anything immediately, but we need, you know, there's a, you know, drop off of being responsive. So we're looking at, you know, alternate providers, including the current contract holder for here. It would make sense that they would have more of an inducement since they're on the property a lot. I don't know, Jay, you wanna?
Yeah, we had, so Pool Troopers has been here for quite a while. We had, their services, I was, as a volunteer, working with them. Their service has not been good over the years. I called them, I emailed them, and they would get, you know, it would take them weeks to respond and then another few weeks for somebody to come out and address the issue. So I guess Doug went out and got a couple more. Pool, VIP pools, as Jim mentioned, is used by, the town center here. And we got a quote from them, and we got a quote from Pool Networks, which is another. Pool Networks is a, quoted once per week, service, for, $250. Pool Troopers, by the way, went from $200 to $456 a month. So it more than doubled.
That's a way of saying no.
So with bad service, increase of over 100% didn't make a lot of sense. So VIP pools came in at $325, twice a week service, matching Pool Troopers, and double what Pool Network was for $250. So I think that, you know, we talked about this last time. I think that we probably should look at moving forward with VIP pools as soon as possible, because right now they're still, if we're paying them, I guess we're paying them the new rate at this point.
No, we're paying them at our at the contract rate. Yes.
I was just gonna say one thing there, lesson learned. It was good that we went through Gateway from the standpoint of Randy to put that pool trooper contract in place. Because when they basically send a note that says your price is going to $458, Laura got engaged, went back to pool troopers and said, you signed this contract, and in terms of Gateway put into that contract, they weren't able to do it. Had we done it without going through them, we wouldn't have those terms in there, and we had no leg to stand on when they came back at $458. So that's the lessons learned, is that process. You sometimes get upset about it, but there's a lot of benefit from, and this.
No, and we don't want to be stuck with somebody who doesn't want to be here, because we've been dealing with a lack of responsiveness.
Yeah.
Again, once they were no longer here for all the other work, you know, it was a money losing proposition for them to send somebody here for, you know, this 50-gallon fountain. You know, so, you know, we did have some, we were looking for clarification, you know, as far as what they're contracted to do. Did a good job, and we identified, you know, things that are outside of the scope of the contract, the lights that are in the fountains and that, and, you know, but I'm sure they deal with a contractor. Good.
Exterior lights, I guess.
Exterior lights, landscape committee is not represented here, so we could roll on them.
So get a motion to make a change?
So,
Just to clarify, so Jay, did you specify the scope of work that they have to do on a weekly basis?
So it's listed in their quote, and they send you a contract, so I can have that as well. It's essentially the same thing with pool troopers.
They did, Chelsea did not want a vote at this level.
Right.
Until Randy had put a formal contract with the terms that Gateway would put in there before we did a vote. That's why it was a discussion topic versus something that we would vote on. Knowing what needs to be included in there, the scope is one thing, but then the terms is how you cancel you know, and you increase the price, all those things. We got to make sure that stuff's in the contract, and that price that we're talking about includes those terms.
right. Okay, so I guess it's just,
Can you vote pending the Gateway staff revisions?
you know, are we all in agreement that this is the direction we want to go in?
Yes.
You know, any other questions from any of the other,
Boilerplate language other than that, you're ready.
you know, I again, you know, like Doug was saying, it's nice using the resources that are available to us. So we're not just using
Which we pay heavily for.
customer's contract. We're
Which we
having
pay
somebody who's, you know, putting in
ain't
verbiage protecting us as well.
It ain't free.
Nope, nothing for nothing.
So
So,
can I
okay,
ask you, Jay, to just send me what you have so far, and
Yeah.
then I can share that with Randy, and then we can take it from there.
So up until this point then, because I want to contact them about those interior lights, we should get those working now. We would go through pool troopers. How long do you think this would take, I guess, to get?
well, then it has to come back at our next meeting for a vote.
Right.
All right,
Look
so-
at this meeting.
But the lights you might.
So-
Make it subject to,
Can we, is there something that we can vote on now and bypass coming back to us in 2 months?
Just accept the boilerplate that staff's gonna put in there.
Well, it's also contingent upon Randy's work, so
That's what I'm saying, that's
Yeah.
the boilerplate.
as long as you give us the specifications, we can put it out to bid, get the official submittals, and then we'll move forward at that point in time. But we'll have to bring it back. So, I
we
mean,
do have to bring it back.
we'll have to bring it back.
There's, okay,
Yeah, it's just, I think we were just looking for the discussion and some,
Well, I understand what you're saying,
yeah,
but I'm saying since the committee wants to make the change, and the only difference is we don't know what Randy's gonna put in it, vote to do it,
right,
subject to Randy's changes. You don't have to go back.
okay, very good.
can we do that?
We'll go with that.
at least this moves it doesn't delay us 2 months
That's right.
of having a substandard service, especially in contact. Yes, they can't start until we have a contract.
Right, so they have a contract.
You know, so we still want to get the pool troopers to get the lights hopefully working again. This is our entryway. Granted, most of us aren't coming in it after sunset, but you'll miss this. So is there a vote now?
Yes, now that you're authorizing us to be able to proceed, depend upon the procurement of Randy and the specifications, then
Do we need a motion for that?
yes.
Okay, I move that we do all that.
Okay.
Well said.
I'll second it.
Good job, Mike.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed?
Thank you.
Item I. Lake 15, bushes behind Sienna condominiums, maintenance responsibilities. So that,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No.
So this goes back a few months. So this is the Sienna's building right here. This is like 15. There's some bushes. This is the pathway. This is the asphalt preserve pathway. There are some bushes that are located right here at this corner. Which if you see, this is what it looked like before. This was probably taken mid-January, actually January 16. There's an issue as far as who is responsible for maintaining these bushes. There was a couple months that went by. There's a lot of conversation back and forth. I ended up calling, I contacted Ameriscape. They went and just trimmed all of these bushes. So the issue is who is responsible for these bushes? How do we actually move forward? We don't feel as a district that this is our responsibility, of course, unless it's, to conflict with our conservation easement or the lake maintenance easements. So this is,
Sienna has assumed the responsibility.
for maintaining those plants.
Yes, not the grass across from Sienna.
They don't understand.
I just wanted to,
I know.
Just want to explain what's up here, because this is a very confusing area for everybody. But you've got your pond, this is the lake maintenance easement, the dash, blue dash. The blue line here is a drainage easement that comes in. And the green is a cart path easement that there's two easements, one for the cart path itself and an access easement for the Pelican residents. But further up here, the path is actually on the preserve parcel, and just a sliver of the path is on Sienna. So this easement gets very narrow up at the top, where half of the cart path is on Sienna and the other path is on. That's why it gets very confusing. But down in this part of it, cart path is on the drainage easement, but also the cart path easement here, where it turns. But those shrubs and that are within the golf course parcel with that has a drainage and lake easement on it.
It's within the lake bank easement.
Right. So if we ever needed to do any major maintenance in there, we needed to take that out because we have to get equipment in. That's in our easement, and we do have that right to do it if need be.
And I say, I signed that.
Yeah.
easement.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I was gonna put a gate there so nobody could come
The
through.
toll gate.
We said, no,
No, you can put it there. We'll just take it out.
we're gonna charge.
Yeah, total.
Okay, so this matter has been resolved.
Yes.
right. So we'll I'll notify Sienna's HOA that they will be responsible for maintaining those
Yes.
bushes.
So they will no longer put in tickets.
Don't say that.
Same place with bids to trim them.
Right.
Okay, that is all of our items for discussion. Next item is staff update.
I think we've covered everything.
We've got it.
I do not have any.
Next item is member items and reports. Any member have anything, anybody have anything on their roles, our conservation areas, downspout drains, fish stocking, GIS, aeration fountains, and basins? Various people have roles in overseeing different functions, so it doesn't all fall on me. Good job with the GIS system. When we find stuff that is not done, we've added some drainage, once we're done with this, we'll get the prints so he can update that. I do find it useful when we have a database that shows what we've done, and the
You got a lot of
responsibility.
new members. You ought to do a quick GIS presentation in one of the meetings. Let Ed do it. He understands it better than anybody.
Oh, yeah,
Just as an exposure to the new people. I think it's a great idea.
That's a good idea.
Okay. Maybe the next meeting.
Yeah.
We got 15 minutes. We're still on schedule. Let's see, next meeting is June 8th at 9 o'clock. If nobody else has anything,
I move to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Jim.